sorry. This bit here, a bedroom and that, £800 a month.
Yes.
Honestly, I actually genuinely don't know what to say. Just to give the viewers an idea, turn your light off, sir. That's this place at 11:15. This dark. No natural light at all. Very little ventilation. Squalid. Damp. Oh my God.
#Kyle Files.
That is so awful. So unacceptable. A woman does her very best. There's literally a drip that's been dripping. That one's like a stalactite hanging out of the ceiling.
Joe and Andrew now need to decide what action to take against the landlord to get the problem sorted out.
It's taking advantage of vulnerable people.
Yes.
Vulnerable people.
People who've got nowhere else to go.
Get angry.
Or if you get angry, it also overwhelms you as well, because there's so much going on. It's a case of where do you start?
The council clearly have a tough job on their hands at this property, and I'll be back with them again later to see what happens. But first, I want to know whether it's just tenants who rent privately who face problems with their properties and landlords.
A front door.
Hiya.
Hi.
Michelle Fox started renting with Paradigm Housing Association 3.5 years ago when her marriage broke down. She needed a new home for herself and her 4 children, and thought that a housing association would provide better protection. It didn't.
The most overwhelming problem was groundwater coming up through the concrete floor. You couldn't wear socks.
Groundwater.
Yes.
You killed myself.
You couldn't wear socks because there were puddles on the floor. It was horrific.
What happened then? Do they come and visit? What?
A quantity surveyor wrote to Paradigm and said to them, you've got 3 options. 1, you replace the concrete floor with another concrete floor. 2, you replace the concrete floor with a wooden floorboard floor. Or 3, we can monitor it for a year. They decided to monitor it for almost 2 years in the end.
All right, right out the season.
Absolutely. The way that we've been treated is unacceptable.
In June last year, when Michelle and the children had lived with the problem for 3.5 years, Paradigm eventually agreed to replace the floor. They moved the family into a temporary home a few doors down whilst the work was done. But several months later, they're still there, and she has no idea when they'll be able to go back.
The lowest point is when the children ask me, why haven't we got a home? Why haven't we got a proper home?
Tears run down her cheeks.
But at the end of the day, you keep fighting because you know that the state of that house for them wasn't right.
But I'm shocked to find out that Michelle's temporary home isn't right either.
Environmental Health have declared that there are numerous Category 1 and 2 hazards here.
What?
It's got Category 1 hazards, which include damp and mould, falls between levels, intruder entry, and excess cold due to the 100-year-old council windows. We shouldn't be living here, which is the irony of the situation.
Michelle hasn't unpacked yet because she only expected to be here for a few weeks. And some of the furniture didn't survive the move because it was old and had become damaged. She says she can't commit to buying new furniture until she's back in a damp-free permanent home.
Is this where your kids live?
5 mattresses on the floor.
I'm studying for a master's degree. I have to pretend I'm professional. I live like this. It's 3 of my bed frames were so old they didn't make the move here. And it's very hard to maintain a professional stance when you live like this. You know, finding
Do you
clothes.
sleep in here as well?
Yeah, that's them and that's me.
All of you in the street?
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be this way. You know,
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I mean, by anybody's standards, that's a heart-wrenching story. But what I think as I leave her house today is that whether you rent privately or you rent through a housing association, you are at the mercy of that organisation. You don't have the power. You are in their hands. And people like her don't know which way to turn. And that's the sad thing.
Michelle told me she struggled to get answers from Paradigm, so we wrote to them, and they replied to us to say, on this occasion we clearly didn't get everything right. right. It took too long to diagnose the cause of the damp and to arrange remedial works and alternative accommodation. They've now apologised and agreed a compensation payment, and Michelle moved back to the property before Christmas. Since then, they say their inspectors conducted a thorough damp survey to confirm the property is not damp, but they say there are some issues with condensation and they're trying to work with Michelle to resolve them. Coming up, there's difficult news for some of the tenants at the dangerous property I visited.
What do I do? What do I do?
What happens to this man? He's made his case. What is he
What do I
supposed to
do?
do? I learned the root cause of problem homes.
People, if they rent out houses, they cut corners because they want to save money, make more money.
And I get extra help to track down a landlord who's renting out substandard homes.
Is this Mr. Sarkari?
Getting out of his expensive motor.
Yeah.
Me too.
The Kyle Files.
This amazing rock and roll royal couple are going to have a baby.
There have been all sorts of rumours that she might be carrying twins. One thing is for sure, we don't have to wait too long now.
Britain's Got Talent returns Saturday at 7:15 on ITV.
We are all foreign. This house is a freak show. Please make yourself at home.
There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I could sing, but I could try for your heart. Our dreams, and they are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone loving. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
You absolute sods! Jenny, where did you learn that language?
From Larry and Leslie and Margot and you.
What? Let me ask you.
Of course people think you have an affair with Spiro.
I want him so badly. How can we make people here like us more?
Live the country.
Tell you one thing, we're better together.
The Final Days of the Durrells starts Sunday at 8 on ITV.
The Kyle Files.
Earlier in the programme, I visited a property unfit for human habitation.
No natural light at all. Squalid. Damp.
Oh my God.
I met a woman who thought she'd be better off renting through a housing association, but was struggling.
Is this where your kids live?
5 mattresses on the floor.
I don't know what to say.
Later, I confront a rogue landlord to try to get answers.
Jeremy Kyle, ITV. How are you?
But now I'm back with Harrow Council officers Joe and Andrew, because there's serious news about one of the houses they inspected.
Harrow Council have made a decision. What is it?
We're going to be serving an emergency prohibition order on the property today.
What does that mean?
Basically, it means that the residents have got 24 hours in which to find alternative accommodation, whether that be through the landlord, through the council, or through friends, family, or relatives.
Jeremy follows the officers into the building.
We are closing the property because there's numerous hazards and it's unsafe to live in for the tenants of the building.
I have two vulnerables with me. I have a wife. She's been sick for the last 2 years. And I have a 14-year-old child. Where do I go? What do I do?
The council are condemning a building because they know it's unsafe. No, I'm just saying. But in real terms, guys, and these are good people, what happens to this man? He's made his case. What is he
What do I
supposed to
do?
do?
Well,
You head down to the council.
because when you people are doing your work, you're doing what? The thing is, they talk and feel as heaven and coming, but they don't do anything.
Just give us out.
They leave me and go.
So,
Because they don't know.
It's just the reality.
They don't know the extent and
Tragedy. Council have to condemn it because it's unfit, it's a danger, it's a risk. And then these people have to find new accommodation. The council, they do their best.
This is just one example of a property that shouldn't be let out. But there are people suffering in terrible conditions in rented houses and flats all over the UK.
I guess what struck me from the tenants I've met so far is that they feel sort of powerless to act.
The lowest point is when the children ask me, why haven't we got a proper home?
They feel like the landlords seem to hold all the cards and all the power. What's interesting is in the last few years the campaign has been gathering strength across the UK.
The last line of debate. Make me and my 3 children leave this house.
And these people are saying to tenants, you know, stand up and fight back.
Eviction resistance.
This is the Acorn Group, which describes itself as the tenants' union.